Hello, my friends. How's everybody today? Welcome back to my channel. This is Kim at Blueberry Legacy. I picked up today, I hope y'all are having a fantastic day. It's beautiful here in the south, and it's probably 58 degrees today, pure sunshine. What I picked up outside, and I'm putting clear gesso on it. I want you to get a real good look at that. It's got some lichens on it. Lichens, I don't know. You pronounce the way you want to. I don't know how to pronounce it. But I'm not here to pronounce my words exceptional. I'm here to share this with you. And I'm putting clear gesso on this piece of bark that I found outside when I was trimming my rose bushes earlier today. And so what I thought we would do is paint on it. And I thought it would be really kind of fun. I'm always trying to push the limits of what we can do with nature and creative materials. And so, because I love nature and I love to bring it into my art in any way that I can. So while I'm putting this down, and I kind of popped it on there, I will show you while it's drying the other things that we're going to use today so that you can be prepared. And hopefully you just sit back and relax and enjoy the video. I had to check to see if I pushed play. I'm into seeing what this does on here. So I'm using clear gesso. It's like this. So here's that. And then I just put a few dots all over, and that will just help the paint to adhere. What I've got over here is my gouache palette, and it's pretty messed up because the gouache does not stick in the palette very well, and when I close it or carry it around and take it with me, it tends to pop out. But it's just a real basic, super basic, not a lot of money in this gouache, and these popped out, but they'll be there. So, and the blues go over here. So that's that, and then I have some white. I thought it would be cool to take this white ink and try it. It's just an acrylic ink, the dropper, and I just might put a little more. It's kind of getting a little. Oop, there, it got some already. Look at that. I dripped it on there. Just happy accidents. Oh well. We'll take it. And I have a skewer. And I have, of course, this. It was a real soft paintbrush that I used. I used to use that for watercolor. But it's super soft. And I had this flat brush in case I needed to spread it more. I think what I'm going to do, so this can be drying before, I'm just going to make it a little whiter down here. Just lighten it up with that white acrylic. See what that does. Kind of spread it out with this flat brush. Put a little bit even on the little lichens, whatever they are, that they grow, you know, in Savannah. They just hang. It's a different kind, I believe, but it's kind of the same thing. It's like a moss, and it just hangs on the trees. They're really beautiful to see. So then the other thing I have is I have a bit of this. I will show you, and it is mica powder. And I picked out the copper one. This is just a Hobby Lobby. There's 3 in a pack, and you know, when I saw somebody using mica powder, and when I want to use something, I just want to use it right then. So I didn't want to order it online, and I picked this up, and then I just mixed a little bit of water with, I'm going to put a little more. It's kind of dirty water, but oh well. That's all part of the painting process. So just a couple drop per full, depends on how thin you want your mica powder to be, I just want a little, just want to give it a glint. I think that copper would look beautiful on this natural piece of wood. So let me set this down. And this is just a glass dropper. I don't know, I think I got it when I was making some other stuff with essential oils. So have that. I got a rigger. I brought in a rigger brush. I have a Sketch and Wash, only because I could not find my Marksol. I think I left it at the workshop, and so last week. And then this China marker is white, so I thought white would be good to put in it. And oh, I've got a gold pen, Faber-Castell India ink gold pen, and of course the beloved Uniball Signo white pen. I don't even know if this will write on here, but we'll try it and see. So the skewer makes a good stir stick. Okay, and let's see if we can paint. I was looking for a super thin paintbrush, but what I find is they're very thin. I have this, if you're wondering what's jangling over there, it just doesn't fit. I've got another project on my main table, and I wanted to set this up and do it today, and I did not want to move that project. So that's what we're doing. I mean, you could use all kind of things to paint on here. Wouldn't it be cool to use this feather? This is a turkey feather, which, you know, I just like my feathers around, actually, so I don't know that I'm going to paint with that, but you could. You could make marks with all kind of things, like, you know, I'm not going to use palette knives. I don't know if you hear that. Oh, I hear somebody on the gravel drive. Forgive me, I was just hearing other things while I'm taping, and I hope that you can't hear it, but anywho, let's move on. So what I find with these small brushes is that they are not firm enough. Like, if I find a teensy brush, this is a Princeton, and it's a watercolor brush that I use different times. It's just not firm enough for what I want to do, like, you know, say writing. So if we took this, let's just try some of this and see what happens on this. And see, you know, see, I get a thick and a thin, and I want it to be really stable and firm. So I can't get necessarily the depth or the thin and thick line that I'm looking for. Although I do like this mica powder. It'd be nice and shiny. So, and it's kind of fun to write with this one, but it doesn't have the brush firmness. So if you guys have any tips on that, or if you have a brush that you really like to do writing with, let me know in the comments, because I keep buying brushes, and now I can't think to spell legacy. Alrighty then, there we have it. Okay, so the thicker, you know, I made it super thin, but you can make your mica powder as thick or thin as you want. And it dries really quickly, pretty quickly up here. It's already dry. Okay, so the brush that I want to use is this. It is actually an Arteza, one of those water brushes. What I find is because it has an acrylic tip and it's very thin, I can get the marks that I want to get. And I'll show you just on this piece of wipe-off paper with the white. Okay. I just feel like I can control this much better. It's going wonky on this paper. But for my hand, I like this brush to make small marks with. All right. So let's see what we can get into here. A little bit of color. And I think I'm going to go natural with these, not in the pinks, not in the reds and pinks, but in the, greens. I'm thinking green for this. It's showing up barely. Let's go closer. You can see the bark. And this is just experimental. I mean, I'm a very, very experimental artist. I like to try and push things and just see what happens, you know? I bring a lot of natural elements into my studio because they are very calming and very grounding. So this was something that I saw on my walk, and I thought, hey, let's try it. You know, you do the things that make you comfortable and what you enjoy. I think actually the lighter colors, I'm trying to see if it's on the screen. Yeah, it is. Okay, now it is showing up. Okay. Let me just get a little bit more focus. Okay. It's a different kind of a setup. One of the nice things is I can just squeeze, you can't see the palette, I'm sorry about that. Squeeze the water right out into the gouache. To get rich color. I think what I like to do is mix some of this teal-y blue with that. I like to mix my gouache and get different colors. Okay, I think it may be similar to the green I have down. But let's see if it's variation. Huh. Yeah, our weather is so beautiful. It's been for about 3 days, and I'm really appreciative that it's not staying 30 degrees for 3 months, because I like to be outside and take walks and enjoy nature. And I do not care for the cold weather at all. Like, it's okay for maybe December 24th and 25th, and then after that I'm done. That's just my taste. But there's lots of places to go skiing here, and many people love the cold weather. Lots of my friends, they love it. And let me know what you think. You know, are you a warm or a cold weather? And, you know, not to say that I'm a definite warm weather person. I just, you know, moderation is really good for me. You know, 75 or 80 is just about as close to perfect as you can get. But, you know, we're still on Earth, so perfection is not necessarily in the wheelhouse. And I think it would be overrated if we tried or looked for perfection. We would be disappointed all the time. So I'm glad for today and really grateful that I got to go outside, take a long walk, and then come paint this with you. So, are you getting your paints out this winter? Are you stitching or knitting? Maybe you crochet. I made 4 quilts from, well, I made one last year. The quilt top I did make last year and complete it. And then the 3 quilts I started and finished, as I remember, from October through November. And I'll share some of those. I gave them to my grandchildren. I have 4 grandchildren. And I gave the quilts to them. That was the whole sole purpose of making them, was for their Christmas gifts. And I gave them on Christmas Eve, and it was really, really a blessing to be able to do that. I'm not looking for any outcome here, okay? I do have times where I paint and I look for outcomes, but today I am not doing that. I'm just seeing how gouache color lays on this piece of, it's bark. So that's what that white is the gesso went through there. And it had like another thick layer on it that I pulled off before I brought it inside. It was kind of like dirt. It felt as though it was like dirt, although it was part of the tree. But it was just in the yard when I was trimming the roses. And do y'all garden? Do you garden? I'm an avid gardener. I love to garden, only in the day. I'm not a nighttime gardener. That's kind of funny. I like to garden in the summer, and I'm using, I don't know, this looks like a royal blue to me. Actually, it looks good on this piece of bark. I was thinking more natural colors, but I like the way the blues are coming together around the green. So yeah, I love to garden, and I put out pansies, which I put those out in October, and I have a pot outside my studio window. I think I posted them on Instagram at some point. And if you don't catch me on Instagram at Bluebird Legacy or Kimberly Deutsch Designs, go check it out. My links will be at the bottom of this video, and I hope you'll come over and see some of I post basically probably 5 times a week. Instagram is a real rabbit hole for a visual person like me, and I really do everything I can to, work on my art and my projects. I think this is going to be a little blue heart right here. It just kind of fit right in there. Yeah, that's what that's going to be. And since it's Valentine's coming up, I'll make a couple more of those. I do love nature and all the things that the natural world has. So I make a garden in the summer, fresh vegetables, lots of flowers, and then in the winter, I'm originally from the North, and I've really lived in the South almost 20 years, but my northern gardening skills are more in my mind, if you will. That's how I'm used to gardening. And so you see what I'm doing on the palette. Can you see the palette? I had a little bit of this lighter blue, and then it's just a tiny bit of green, but the lighter blue, and then this was there. It was dried. And your palette, your paint that's there is perfectly good paint. You just leave it there and come back to it another time. And it makes for a lot of really nice colors that have a variation. And I think that's one of the things that, makes your art more interesting to look at, that you have varied colors. So I'm kind of letting this dry, and then I'm going to go ahead and dip into our white to bring a little more contrast. And I think I might just add a little bit of this white ink. Just a couple drops to this. I'm not sure what you can see. You can't see. Let's see. My viewfinder is very small today. My table is project covered. Let me get a drop of that. See how that blends in with that. Now that'll make that gouache is basically opaque, but it'll really bring the opacity out and lighten it, which is kind of fun. I'll put some of that around the edge. I don't think it's ever a mistake to get your art supplies out and just start putting color down, because the only way to get better at anything is to keep doing it. Practice, you know, that old adage, practice makes perfect. Of course, there's no perfection here at all. And I'm, you know, some people say, oh, I'm a recovering perfectionist. I catch myself trying to make things, you know, better a lot, but perfection is really overrated. And, you know, I hope that you won't get caught up in the Instagram, you know, everything's perfect here. No, nobody's life is perfect. Nobody's. And while, because even if they have everything that you want or that you're seeing in the 4 squares or on this or that, there are always things in our lives that cause pain, cause trouble, cause differences. What, you know, there's too many, that's enough of that. But yeah, because this is a happy, fun painting center. And what I try to do when I paint is I also want to focus on really good vibes, like really good vibes. Like, you know, how do I put it? I'm not thinking about any problem. I'm not allowing my brain to go down, you know, any aisle. And so that's why painting, and I'm always, you know, hashtagging art therapy, because honestly, now some of you may need an art therapist, but honestly, you do not need a person to get the, you know, with you and you painting and all this, to get the therapeutic benefits. Sorry, I was thinking this was in frame. You do not need to have an art therapist in front of you or have you paint to get benefits from working on art. That's my point that I'm trying to say. Because just it's a well-known scientific fact that just the hand and eye coordination, when you make your brain focus on the paintbrush and the paint, the color, you see the color, you can feel the texture. This is super textured, and that's what I was just talking to a person about. What I like about art is when it's very, very textured, and I think that's what caught my eye on this piece, is all the texture. Like, you have here, you know, here you have like this lower part. It's probably, I would guess, where the lichen starts, and then it gets all, it's almost like lace, like fluttery wings of lace on there. But then this is flat. Of course, the striations cause a lot of the texture too. So yeah, I mean, finding out what you like or what you don't like helps you with your art also. So let's go into the white alone. I kind of did a lighter blue there. Let's see what happens when we take and add some of this. And this is kind of going to bleed. I'm going to let it do that, just to be letting it do its own thing. Yeah, I'm one of those people that when I paint with watercolors, I just like to let it bleed and do its own thing. So much we try to control our lives, and that can be a good thing or a bad thing. But, you know, we try to make a good life for ourselves, but it's kind of fun just to let go and let the paint do its own thing and just see what happens. I mean, it's just paint and paper. This is a piece of bark that I picked up in the yard. So have fun with it and find your own way. I hope that I can inspire you for your creativity. I know others have inspired me, and I'm super grateful that I found inspiration for my life to start picking up a paintbrush. I mean, I had always been a quilter and a stitcher, but it was back in 2011, and I'd have to say YN Thompson is the first online course I ever took. I took her paint-free course. She's a rock star in and of herself. So, I mean, she's like just all the stuff that she's had happen and go on, and she still is painting. So look her up, YN. It's spelled W-Y-N-N-E. No, I left out the A. W-Y-A-N-N-E. I don't want to tell other people's story. You'll have to go and see it. See her story for yourself. But she's one of my first people that I really liked. And you see how what I'm seeing, the only thing I'm seeing that I didn't care for is this white bled down. And I don't really want it to do that. So I'm going to just take the cloth, you know, kitchen towel, whatever you have will be okay. And, yeah, that's painting on Legion. So, I mean, you can keep adding to it, but we're getting to 27 minutes, and I like my videos just to be a quick 30 minutes. Thanks so much for hanging out. And let's put some of this mica powder, if you can see it really well. Let's put some of this mica powder and just fling it. That's always fun. So I'm just getting this brush. I don't want to put my watercolor brushes into this mica powder because I like to keep them the way I like to keep them. So I'm just going to use this little Crayola brush. Yeah, that's me. I love to find my inner child and just have fun. So all I'm going to do is hold it there and let it tap. Get a little closer. You can see the gold. Now you might want to paint yours on. I think I got more on my face than I have on the little piece of bark. Yeah, I like blue and copper. I like that sort of teal color and the copper together. Good times. Hey, y'all. Thanks a lot for hanging out. I hope you have an awesome day.